This week, Rick Rubin calls AI the punk rock of coding. Rubin explains his thinking in the new book, The Way of Code, the timeless art of vibe coding. All right, let's get into this. Rick Rubin has written a book about the new phenomenon of vibe coding, or giving AI directions in natural language instead of a programming language, which the acclaimed producer calls the punk rock of coding. Before you start agreeing with Pete Townshend, the argument does kind of make sense in context. So let's get into this. So The Way of Code, the timeless art of vibe coding is an interactive book. How is a book interactive? Created with the AI chatbot Claude. What? According to Rubin, it's kind of a remix to the Tao Te Ching, a 3,000-year-old wisdom teaching combined with cutting-edge technology. It's full of Rubin's observations about AI mixed with Rubin-esque ancient wisdom such as do by not doing, and there is nothing that cannot be done. Okay, Rick. Rubin talked about the book during a May appearance on the Ben and Mark Show, a podcast hosted by the venture capitalists Ben Horowitz and Mark Andreessen. In a thoroughly modern example of life imitating art, imitating life, Rubin learned about vibe coding when an old picture of him became the face of a vibe coding meme. The producer, who has worked with everyone from Beastie Boys to Lady Gaga to Metallica, researched vibe coding just enough to post a joke on social media and then found himself growing more curious. The universe is pulling me into this, he recalls thinking. Has anybody heard of vibe coding? What the hell is vibe coding? He sees parallels between vibe coding and punk rock in the way that they prioritize ideas over technique. So in the past, for music, you had to go to the conservatory and study for years and years. Then someday you could play in a symphony. And then when punk rock came along, you could maybe learn 3 chords in a day, and there were all these bands that made it for everybody. How I started in music was punk rock. If you had something to say, you could say it. You don't need the expertise or skill set other than your idea and your ability to convey it. And vibe coding is the same thing. It's the punk rock of coding. Oh, God, that's scaring me every time. It really does scare me. As he sees it, AI won't be a true competitor for creatives. He says the reason we go to the artists we go to, or the writers we go to, or the filmmakers we go to is for their point of view. The AI doesn't have a point of view yet. Now, I do want to say this about AI. If you are worried about AI, if you're opposed to AI, a friend of mine who's a documentary filmmaker, he's like really anti-AI. And I told him this week because I felt compelled to tell him this week. I said, dude, AI is electricity. Like, it's as simple as that. If you don't use it for your writing, all you're saying to me is like, I write by candlelight. I don't need a light bulb. It's like, yeah, but you could write for longer at night, better with a light bulb. Doesn't make you less of a writer. AI is just a tool, dude. It's just a tool. That's all it is. And it's a tool like any other tool before it, like the internet, like the laptop. It's nothing. If you're watching this right now, please learn AI. I'm telling you, the repercussions for not learning it are going to be really bad. It's not cool to resist it, dude. And it's not evil at all. Rick Rubin's into it. Rick Rubin says he imagines a new generation of artists and coders who can do to modern culture what punk did to music, empowering the best ideas, even if they don't come from a place of experience and technique. I like that. Power of the people. AI gives you the ability to take your ideas, feed it into this machine, and then get back different iterations that normally you would do, but it would take you much longer. Well, yeah, Rick, you're just explaining AI. I mean, I guess it's novel if you don't know. Those who read The Way of Code are invited to edit the book's animations, offering prompts to change the art as you go. I guess that's cool. It sounds a little gimmicky. Though to save you a click, it doesn't work very well, at least at the $20 a month pricing tier. All right.